All right, day number 5. What I want to talk about today, something that's extremely important to me. I guess if I were to summarize the title, it would be Being a Man of Your Word. There's this idea, this kind of mentality that stuck with me for a while, and there's a story that goes along with it. I think it's related to like a Spanish invasion back in the day, but it's called Burn the Ships. And the quote related to that, and there's 2 quotes today, but the first one is, "The only way to take over an island is to burn the ship you came in on." And I think that's really powerful, because when I think about that, it's if you give yourself an out, if you come into a situation that you know is going to require a lot of discipline, unless you forego anything that's going to allow you to get back on that ship and to ride back into comfortability, then in your dark moment, in your moment where you're tired or you're frustrated, you're going to have that tendency to jump right back on and ride back into comfort. And I think it's really important to notate that this idea of burning your ships, selling out, and following through on the things that you aspire to do is not something that I think you can just do just cold turkey, just kind of flip of the switch. There's a lot of people that have these big goals and ambitions, and that's great. But I know, speaking of my experience, I will fail time and time again if I just say I want to do something, this big, large, awesome thing, and it's really kind of like spiritual training or physical training, something that you really have to work towards. You got to work up to, and you got to plan meticulously, and you have to have checkpoints along the way, and you have to obviously give it to God, because if you don't, you will, again, in your tired moment, in your moment of just despair or doubt or questioning, and again, this can apply to any situation. When things get tough, you will, even if you know you don't want to, you're going to get right back on that ship and ride back into comfortability, ride back into the vices or the things that got you into the place you are in the first place. And so I think that mentality of the only way to take over the island is to burn the ship you came in on. And then the second quote, again, these quotes are simple, but I think they're really meaningful. The second quote is, "If you really want to do something, you will find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse." And I think that's something we do as humans a lot of times is, I hear this like in the military academy, for example, like SEAL training is really difficult. And I think it's like 80+% don't even make it through the BUDS training. And they say, a lot of people, it'll be an injury, or it'll be something that comes up with the family situation back home, or there's something that is maybe even somewhat legitimate that they can point to, but that's kind of their outlet to say, well, I would have made it through, but, and then insert excuse, X, Y, and Z. And really, I think that thing that they point to is just the thing that really helps them cope with the fact that they didn't succeed. And I think I've already name dropped Jocko Willink once in these videos, but he has a mentality of like, hey, I've already made up my mind that I'm going to do it, so I'm going to do it. And no matter what hurdle that steps in the way, in aim for my goal, it's just a matter of, okay, well, how do I get around this? And it doesn't matter how small or big it is. I've already committed to doing it, so we're just going to get it done. So those are the 2 quotes, and then the scripture that relates to this comes from Matthew 12, and just 2 verses here, 36 and 37. But it says in verse 36, "But I tell you that everyone will have to give account on the day of judgment for every empty word they have spoken. For by your words you will be acquitted, and by your words you will be condemned." And again, just that line that really sticks out to me is, for every empty word they have spoken. They're going to have to give account for that on the day of judgment. And man, I've spoken a lot of empty words in my life. And what I find is it's typically, I think about, okay, why do I speak these empty words? Or why do I have big ambitions that I sometimes don't follow through upon? And it's always some life circumstance that comes up. Again, it's a vice that I'm clinging to fill some empty need that I'm not letting Jesus into, or something that's just distracting me, and then I just play into the distraction because life's hard. you don't want to wake up early, or you don't want to go, that extra mile in the gym, or, you don't want to have that difficult meeting at work. So, you're just going to stay up a little bit later the night before and, play extra video games or watch that extra episode, not get enough sleep. And all of these things can just play into our lives and become more of a challenge unless we look ourselves in the eyes and say, hey, I'm the one that maybe got me into this mess. And that hurts to do so. But the beautiful thing about that is when you admit, hey, it's not an excuse, I'm done with excuses. It's not, oh, I've been injured or haven't been feeling well. Like I've had a cold this entire week, but we've gotten into the gym every single day, sometimes twice. Not to toot my own horn at all. It's just I genuinely feel better on the other side of it when I put the work in. But so many years in the past, I may have said, oh, I just got to rest up, got to listen to my body. And there are times you certainly have to do that. But for instance, for this week, it's no, we're going to get in, we're going to get a sweat in, we're going to get good sleep, we're going to, talk to God, and we're going to get over any earthly challenge or circumstance that we're thrown into. So again, but I tell you that everyone will have to give account on the day of judgment for every empty word they have spoken. For your words will be acquitted. By your words you'll be acquitted, and by your words you will be condemned. So again, following through on what we say, building up that spiritual and physical training to be able to be in a position to better follow through. And I guess for some people, you just have to hit that rock bottom, or you have to just keep, adamantly attacking that thing until you've gotten the practice and the reps under your belt to know, I'm not going back to distraction. I'm not going back to, being undisciplined and speaking these empty words. And I just pray for myself and for everyone that just that, first of all, that reliance on God, because in Him and through Him, we're not gonna be able to do anything in a disciplined fashion on our own. So leaning on Him first, letting Him work in and through us, and then just riding the coattails of that in our life to know, like, everything we have is of Him, and everything that we're able to achieve consistently in this world is because we are of God, and we are able to be consistent. We are able to do better than any former version of ourselves, and we're going to burn the ships every single day. We're not going to give ourselves an out. We're not going to make excuses, and we're going to achieve things that we never thought we could. And that's day number 5.